All right. It says we are live. All right. So I can flip back and forth between this and this. All right, everyone. Welcome. Why did I do that? Here we go. All right. So welcome to the Passport Man Show, the first ever episode of Money Mondays. On Friday, we had set up a test run. And obviously, this is not a walk and talk around Tokyo, Japan, as a vertical live stream. So I'm not expecting a ton of views, but we want to get some good quality information out without the distractions of the city. So today we have a video we're going to be reacted to. Japan needs 600,000 foreigners. Obviously, I'm living here in Japan. I'm actually with my one of the guys who was watching my live stream over from Canada. Do you want to just introduce yourself and share what you will? And what I will say is during our conversation, if there's anything you don't want to discuss, just say, "Oh, I'm not going to discuss that today." So, because this is your first ever live stream, right?
Yeah, this is. Yeah. What's going on, everybody? It's D Will from Canada. How's everybody doing? We're live and direct. It's a big time difference, but we make it happen.
Nice, nice. So yeah, over here in Tokyo, Japan right now, it's 10:47 a.m. What about over there in Canada?
It's actually 6:47 p.m.
Oh, okay. I thought it was going to be 8:47, like New York time. Interesting.
Yeah. We're a little bit mountain central time, right?
Nice, nice. So may I ask, how was your experience? I know we hung out in Tokyo, Japan. May I say, how was your experience out here when you were hanging out both with me and on your own?
It was good. It's a big culture shock for me.
Hmm.
The food was one of the best parts of the journey.
Hmm.
What I find
Right.
is America and Canada, we have too much preservatives, too much chemicals, too
Hmm.
much stuff that, Japan doesn't have. They weed out the bad, right?
Right. 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 All right, that's cool. So
Yeah.
so I guess we'll dip back and forth. We can pause whenever to hear your story or ideas. I guess we'll start watching this video. Sound good?
Yeah, sure. Whatever you
All
got
right.
planned.
All right.
And only you can save them by moving there as
So this is we're gonna maximize the screen. This is Japan needs 6,000 foreigners. And who is this lady? We'll just give her a little love. Needing
moving to Europe.
authority.
In Japan is in some serious trouble, and
Where we'll maximize the screen there and then hit the play button. Here we go. Where we go, right?
only you can save them by moving there as a foreign worker and contributing to their economy.
By the way, shout out to Aaron B in the house. How you doing, my friend? Let us know how our volume, etc., is, and we'll keep watching what she has to say. And D Will, you can hear her okay, right?
Yeah, I can hear.
Cool.
It is estimated that Japan will need almost 11 million foreign workers to fix their labor shortages and their economic gap.
All right. So what I want to say on this, I have a question for you, D Will. While you were out here in Tokyo, Japan, did you notice that there is a lot of workers who are not Japanese working in the kombini, in the
I
convenience stores?
I did notice that. Yeah, I did notice that. It seems like they're looking for a lot of foreign workers to do the jobs that maybe the Japanese locals don't want to do as much.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, I didn't really notice it when I first came to Japan, but these days I'm definitely noticing it a lot more. I noticed it especially in Tokyo. And then like if any of you guys are thinking of doing the visa out here, even doing more than a tourist visa or renewing your visa, which there are tricks around that, you'll definitely notice Tokyo part of Japan is oversaturated with the with foreigners. So if you go to Shinagawa immigration, you'll just it's like the Men in Black. You see people from like all 200 countries literally running around there. It's pretty organized actually, considering how many people are over there. Um, so that's why like when I see people talk, when I see like other YouTubers, whatever, talking about Japan or being overseas, but they're just hanging out in their home country. I definitely get it because it's hard. How did you find the coming into Japan, the process? Was it pretty seamless for you coming from Canada?
It was very seamless. I didn't get stopped by immigration or anything. It was just take a photo there, go through, scan your passport, get your visa, and you're in.
Nice, nice, nice. All
Yeah, it
right,
was
so let's
beautiful.
yeah, it's pretty seamless. It's pretty organized, especially compared to some other countries I've been to. But it could be on a day by day basis. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, so it looks like we both agree that the Japan facing $11 million worker shortfall by 2040. The government hiring directly will follow her a little more, and then we'll get into what our dream lives are over here.
Yeah, I have a question for you about the
Yes, sir.
work life in Japan.
Yeah. Mm.
How would you say the work life balance is for foreign workers in Japan?
So it depends. That's a great question. Um, it depends on both the category, the industry that you're working in, and then also uh, who's running the company. So if you're working for a Japan firm over here, or sort of like, it doesn't even have to be a Japan firm, sort of like a Japan firm culture, it can be difficult. So I come from the sales background, and then I have
Yeah.
friends who are in IT. And I have interviewed folks for IT, and I haven't published the videos yet. I think it's better to just have them come on live streams like this to
Oh
have
yeah,
them
for
share
sure.
detail their perspectives, um, in which they actually talk about that, and they're not interviewing folks or whatnot. But the Japan firms, the work life balance is not really there for a lot of Japanese firms, especially if you're entry level. So I would recommend for any folks who want to live here in Japan to sort of there's two options. You could come here and have your stuff together, but if you don't come here and have your stuff together, you're sort of at the mercy of the will of the employer. Of course, Japanese folks are known to work crazy hours, and then that's why they're drinking all the time after work. However, um, let's say you come here as a foreigner, and the easiest job to get as a foreigner, regardless of whether you're in IT or whatever, no matter how much money you have, is
The English teaching, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And then what happens to a lot of foreigners is the Eikaiwa or whatever they're working for is gonna milk them and force them to work this crazy hours. So you got
Yeah.
two options. You could come in here with on a spouse visa, you could come here on a student visa, or you could come here on a working visa. If you come here on a specialist visa where you're an engineer or you're a high salary employee, that would be a great point, a great bet. But I'd recommend, if you do have skills, to just like book a call with me, or wait for us to put out engineer specialist or specialist skills in like IT or tech, and then we could put out a free video on that. So depending on
So you do consulting as well?
Yeah, I do consulting as well. I set up a Calendly link. I did not put it on the description of this video. I was busy setting up the thumbnail, etc. But it is on the channel profile if anybody's looking to schedule a meeting with me. I've been running around, but I am happy to schedule a meeting on Calendly.
That's awesome. So if I was to come to Japan, I should bring a war chest with me.
Definitely bring the war chest. That's a great point. So before coming, just a little bit about my background. So I come from B2B sales, and I made I would say I've been able to create my war chest anywhere from 5 figures to 6 figures depending on the time. And I've definitely depleted my chest several times. And I usually go back to B2B sales to bring it back up. But we're living in a new type of economy where you can make a lot of money online. So I'm trying not to go to my typical war chest way. I have not completely, but I have depleted a lot of my war chest since coming here to Japan. and I'm looking to build it back up, but I don't want to go to the easy method. And I have a lot of experiences I learned from being here in Japan, so I want to share with the folks because I'm not really seeing the people share their personal experiences online more than just like if you look at this news study, this is just a news study. But what the media portrays about Japan and what's actually happening in Japan are two different things. And then your relationships in Japan are two different things. But yeah, man, the work-life balance, you can make it easy or it can be very hard, especially if you're a foreigner.
Okay.
And then someone like you, like I said, so we've talked about this online. Do you want to talk about your experience day trading a little bit? Not going to the technical details because I guess too much because that would have to be organized as another stream. But
Yeah, we
your
could talk for hours, for days about trading.
right,
Basically, I'm not a day trader so much as I am just a long-term investor.
right,
I do flip from
mm,
time to time. I'm more so
right,
of a volume trader. So I'll look for
right,
volume and I'll make trades depending on the volume that's invested into the trade and how many people are you know looking to invest. So when I first started investing, I was just like everybody else, like a consumer, and then
right,
I made the transition from consumer to looking at things that on a through a money lens. You know what I mean? The
right,
money lens is what I like to call it.
mm,
And once you get that money lens, so you're looking at everything that could
mm,
possibly make money and invest in.
mm,
And then, it transitions from there to learning about taxes and where you can save money and how much you have to pay. And, it goes into real depth about, money management, the
mm,
psychology of money.
mm,
Yeah, there's endless amount of information and resources out there. So I would
mm.
encourage anyone who wants to get into money management, or even maybe one day you feel like you want to retire and get out of the rat race, as I like to call it.
Right.
You have to start early
Mm,
because the longer you wait,
mm,
the more life hits you. Maybe you
mm,
start to have kids, maybe you have different health risks, health concerns.
mm.
Start earlier because retirement is not too far away for most people. And what I've
Yeah.
noticed is that a lot of baby boomers can't retire.
Why do you think that is?
Well, they just haven't started. They haven't looked into it. They haven't considered the fact that maybe their social security won't be there, or their pension plan, you know, may have messed up their investment, right?
Right, right.
So the best thing is to take matters into your own hands,
Mm,
invest for your future, create different streams of revenue,
mm,
you know, become the
mm,
captain of your own ship,
mm.
right?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that I did want to ask you about because I know a lot of people personally who talk about being curious about day trading, or I know you don't day trade, but can you talk about how I was pretty surprised when you explained to me how much time you spent studying the science on it because I think a lot of people are I mean, all right, I'll give me as an example, right? I think I told you this story. So the I made 50,000 one year approximately day trading.
Yeah.
And I was literally like buying and selling stocks most of the time the same day. And I wasn't using anything really fancy. I was just paying attention to the market news and the graphs and what I know on the businesses I was day trading.
Yeah.
Um, and then that didn't really take much science. That was just kind of analyzing, paying attention to the news. But your strategy was a lot more scientific and in depth. And you really built up the skill. Can you talk about just like how much time you put into it? So people,
100%.
yeah,
So my strategy is I love the analytics. I love going into the fundamentals of whatever I'm investing in because I don't like to lose money. I don't think anybody likes to lose money. So,
Right.
from my point of view, I put in 10 hours of research into whatever I want to invest in. And if I don't, then I don't think it's right for me to put my money in there. So
Right.
after I do 10 hours of research, and I mean looking into the CEOs, looking into the board of directors, if
Mm,
they have any quarterly reports, you read those, read the annual reports, just
mm,
go in there, just get all the information you can get, go through the
mm,
history, comb through if they've had any issues in the past, have they fired people, have they
mm.
hired new people, what else can you look into, what can you learn about the company, and then
Right.
it will make you more confident about your
Right.
investment, about putting your money into that stock,
What I'll
right?
say, D Will, you're in a great place. Like you're living the dream life, in my opinion. So, like I told you personally, after looking at what you have going on financially, that you can literally you don't have to work anymore. And
100%. Yeah,
it's that's based on interpretation. We're not going to say like what you made or like how much I have or how much you have. But what I do want to ask you is from a dream life standpoint, um how much did that make your trip enjoyable? Because like I know when you were out here, you were taking a cab everywhere. You didn't have to worry about money. Like it's not like you were spending crazy. I know we looked at some restaurant where it's like $300 for a meal, and we were like laughing about it. But like, can you explain how nice it is to travel without worrying about money, and like how it made the experience great in Japan for you?
exactly. So when I was in Japan, I booked a couple private tours and I was able to not stress. And that was the
Right.
best part. Whatever I needed to do or whatever I wanted, I could have
Mm,
it. And
right.
I think that's what life is meant to be. If
Mm,
you have a special occasion coming up for you, your girlfriend, your wife, whoever it may be,
mm,
um, it would be nice to hire a private chef
mm,
if you want to, right?
right.
So, I mean, money allows you to do things that you want to do. So, I mean, if you want to experience the beautiful hotels with the onsen and all these different things in Japan, you can do that.
Right.
Whether it's one night, 2 nights, money allows you to do that. So, I mean, yeah, it's just a lot less stressful when you have resources.
Nice. Did you by any chance happen to look at the rental prices of how much it costs to live out here?
I did. I actually was there when you were doing that interview for the um, cost of living, right?
Right,
And
right.
we were talking to people and they were saying how much it costs. So I do think it's relatively low compared to what it's like here in Canada.
Right. Yeah, I want to blow like I want to show you something, and I think some of our Shichosha, our viewers, will be shocked by this. So I actually have a friend who actually was a YouTuber. He was interviewing folks, and then he became a real estate agent. So have you ever looked at like a live viewing of how much an apartment, like a nice apartment in Tokyo costs?
No, I haven't.
All right, so let me try and pull that up and show you that. Let me see Instagram. Let me try and find his account real quick. Let's see home. All right, how do I do this? Search yo in Japan. I forgot what is it. Let me Oh, I should have this set up already. Let me see. He might have changed his name. Let me just pull it up on my feed. Or let's just search apartments in Japan. Apartments in Japan. What? Yo. All right, I'll have to find another day. I should have been prepared for that. But anyway, bottom line is like the apartments you get in Japan if you're spending like 1,200 American
Yeah,
is just insane. It's crazy.
really.
Like compared to New York, where I come from, like So here's the thing. So when it comes to the dream life, everybody's got a dream life, right? So like you already some people when they come to Japan, they haven't had any success with women, and then their dream life is like just having a fine Japanese woman. And trust me, I mean, at least the ones I have, I'm really into cooking. So if you look at my YouTube channel and kind of sort by like the YouTube shorts, you're gonna see a lot of food, like a lady cooking for me. So we got
Yeah.
Tay International in the house, by the way. I met Tay when he was actually in Japan. He's actually a passport bro. Tay, if you want to, I know Tay, he's already been vetted. You could join the StreamYard conversation if you want to. He's a fellow YouTuber as well. But yeah, 1200 in Tokyo will get you a lot. And I'll create another stream where I talk about it. Maybe next week I'll already have it set up. But basically, I was looking at one guy who for $2,000. Now, granted, $2,000 in American dollars is a lot of money. But what it gets you in New York, which is basically a nice studio apartment, maybe in Brooklyn, maybe not even in Manhattan, in Japan just gets you something ridiculous. Um, but the dream life, I think, coming from America, and you can tell me about Canada, D will, uh, America, sometimes even if you're wealthy, you have to worry about like money. I'm sorry, you have to worry about safety. And in
Oh yeah.
Japan, you don't really have to worry about that. What's it like in Canada these days? How are people reacting to the economy?
So we don't necessarily have to worry about safety as much as you do in the U.S.
Right,
We don't have the Second Amendment here, right? So
right.
for us, we just have a really dumb prime minister.
Mm.
He has ruined our economy, right?
Really?
And I mean, the housing prices are pretty much doubled what it is in
Right.
America. So whatever
Mm.
you guys can get for 600,000, it's gonna cost us 1.2,
Mm.
right?
I
And
see.
it's bad. It's really bad. So if you go look at Niagara Falls area right by Toronto,
Right.
right, there's Niagara Falls on the U.S. border and
Mm.
Canada border, and I mean,
Mm.
literally across the street, the
Mm.
housing prices are doubled.
Mm.
Same
Okay.
house, same 2 bedroom or 3 bedroom house, uh, attached garage, whatever. The
And,
prices are literally doubled. So I mean, the
and then
cost of
people got to
living,
work their butts off to pay for that. Then they got to,
yeah,
instead of living sort of their dream life, they have to be working 9 to 5, just suffering. It cuts into everything. Their dating life, right?
everything, absolutely everything. I mean, we can't travel as much as you guys do there in the U.S.
Right.
Everything is way more expensive for us.
Right.
Plus,
Even
our
in Japan.
dollar isn't as strong too. So
Right. Right. So I think this is actually a good thing. Japan needing foreigners, I think it's going to make it easier for people to come here. So let's see what she has to say. This lady. Uh,
And 47,000 foreign workers every year until 2040. But they're far short of this goal. In fact, the numbers have not even crossed 200,000 in each year since this number was first estimated. In 2018, they could only get 115,000 people. In 2019, only 138,000. And in 2020, 85,000. Post pandemic, we have seen some uptick. But honestly, this number is nowhere close to the 647,000 that they really need. And this has pushed the Japanese government to come up with some extremely innovative approaches to hire foreign workers, some of which we'll discuss in this video today. So, if you've set your heart on Japan and want to enjoy the cherry blossom or just any weather out there, then this video is for you. Make sure you stick around.
all right, so this is her intro. We're going to skip past it a little bit.
Of custom solutions, including direct job placements, job support service, underrated pathways like opportunity card, job seeker visa.
I think she's just let's skip ahead a little bit more.
As well. So without much further ado, let's first talk about why Japan. Well, first of all, I think a lot of my audience watches content from Asia, And Japan seems to be a much closer option because it's Asia. The culture will not feel as different as, say, Europe or North America or Australia for that matter. So Japan offers.
So she's talking about Asia. Quick question for you, D. Will. Other parts of Asia. Have you ever visited other parts of Asia, or just Japan?
Yeah, I've been to the Philippines.
Hmm.
I plan to go to Thailand and other places soon, but just the Philippines for now.
Nice. So could you kind of give like what would your dream life look like in the Philippines compared to Japan? Which is more, or is it sort of the way I look at it is, to me, I like to have Japan as my home base and then be able to travel to the Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam, Korea whenever I want. And that's my dream life. What about for you? Like, how would you orchestrate it if you ever like moved to Japan?
Yeah, exactly. I would do the exact same thing, either Japan, Thailand, or the Philippines as my base, where
Mm,
everything is cheaper. You have a developed nation, which all the amenities and resources and everything is way cheaper than they are in Canada. So
mm,
right now, like living in Canada has just become too expensive. I think a majority of people who are here are actually moving back home or moving to the States or moving to other Asian countries, right? So
mm.
it's definitely a big ticket item for us anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone has. I think it depends on the motivation. I think you love Japan, even though there's other places you want to visit. You said when you visited, you want to come again and as often as possible. What I used to do when I was living in New York was I would visit multiple spots. So like you can do this outside of Asia too. Like for example, when I visited the UK in London, I hit that fast train over to Paris because it's nearby. So you can kind of hit like multiple cities at the same time. And some people even do that on their Japan trips. Like you don't just have to visit Tokyo if you have like maybe 3 weeks on a visit, like 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. You can visit Kobe, Kyoto. You stayed in Tokyo the whole time, right?
Yeah, I stayed in Tokyo. I was only here for a week.
Wow. And then how long did it take you to get here? Because that's the trouble. When you live so far, you can't come here often, right?
It was a 10-hour flight.
That's not too bad, actually.
No, it's not too bad.
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah,
became a Rocky, the Rocky franchise with Sly, the
yeah,
boxing franchise. I became an aficionado from like watching those streams on the flight because it takes so long to fly from New York. Like I watched the whole franchise. So I'm like a
yeah.
Rocky franchise professional now, between
Understood.
Rocky and Creed.
So
Yeah, only
how do you find it living in Japan compared to New York?
so the biggest thing is like for New York, what really pushed me to leave New York is like, all right, so I came from a pretty rough background. So as soon as I got a chance, as soon as I was born and raised in New York City. I moved upstate for high school a little bit, and I came back to New York and started making money, and I did it in sales. And I did pretty well early on because I was just aggressive. It's not really about sales skills, but it's about how much you want to make the money. And in B2B sales, you can make money really fast.
Mhm.
And I made money really fast, and then I lost money really fast. And then I had to go back to B2B sales. And then the reason I lost money really fast was I started doing my own business. I paid like 10 grand to some web developers. Like I was trying to do a whole bunch of stuff I really wasn't set up to do. I was just kind of learning things on the fly. And then when I made my money back, going back to B2B sales, I had two options. I could either work for a company and make good money or be an entrepreneur. But either way, I would have been selling to business owners. So I realized, like, do I want to do this the rest of my life? Because no matter which path I chose, I would have been paying a lot of money towards rent and I would have been hustling. Maybe I'd be able to save a lot of money, but working like 40 to 60 hours a week, feeling drained from whatever it was, that really wasn't my ideal life. So, um, that's why I moved to Japan, because it really freed up my time. Now I'm sort of, I can be very hustler mode or I can be creative mode. I prefer to be creative. Like I used to make music. So what what I can do here in Japan is my dollar takes me a lot further. So for me,
Exactly.
if I want to, like when I moved to Tokyo, I was doing a sales job and then a recruiting job. And then because I don't got to pay $2,000 a month to have a decent apartment, when I thought it was enough for me, I just said, you know what, guys, I don't need to be here anymore. Let me focus on that. And that's when I really started the YouTube channel. So for me, that's the path I went. If that answers you.
Yeah, I agree with you. That was the right decision. I mean, so what made you stay in Japan, and why haven't you left?
It's like once you move here, um, you just realize it's better. Being living in Japan is just more efficient for a lot of people, and it's more the dream life. Because here's the thing. Let's say you move to Japan, D Will, because I know you visited here, visiting here and living here is another story. But if you lived in Japan, you'd have a better apartment, you'd be saving more money. And the thing is, whenever you feel like you're missing your family or whatever, your friends back home in Canada, or if you're a little bored of Japan or it's too much with the culture, whatever, you can always dip out for a month or two. And even if you're paying rent or paying a mortgage, that's another thing we gotta discuss.
Yeah,
The mortgages in Japan are super inexpensive. The interest rates are great. You get a lot more bang for your buck, and you're right in the heart of the city. So like you can always like go back to New York. I might go back to New York and just visit for like a month this year or something, or a few weeks. So that's what keeps me from leaving Japan. Is like I know once I'm back in New York, I'm stuck paying like I think it's $17 for a burrito. In 2023, I went back to California. One burrito at like a franchise. I think it's called Chipotle. Do they have Chipotle over in Canada?
yeah, we got a Chipotle.
Yeah. Like how much is a burger over there? Or no, a burrito.
We pay like $20 for a burrito.
That- In America, is that what it costs in Canada?
$20 here in Canada. Yeah,
It's crazy. I mean, how much? So you were eating in Japan. What were you eating in Japan, and how much did it cost when
I
you were
was
over here?
eating the best food. I mean, I could get the nice bowls of rice and beef and everything for what, $12? $12 Canadian.
Wow. And that's so in Japanese yen, were you paying like I was gonna say sen nanahaku. Were you paying like 1,700 yen?
I think that would be so. It's for Canada. It's 1 to 100 yen.
Okay.
So that $12 would be 1,200.
Wow. And then USD for the USD folks. Let me see. USD to JP right now. We're looking at 15, it's $155. So 155 yen is a dollar. So we said 1,200 yen?
Yeah,
1,200 yen, that's $7. And what did you get for that $7?
you know the rice bowl with the beef and the egg, and
And nice customer service too.
oh yeah.
Nice.
Remember that one night we went out and there was that woman there.
Yeah. What did you observe? Because I know we were hanging out because I was running around doing business. We were able to hang out one night, and you were able to see like the nightlife, especially outside the clubs. Can you just say like what you saw? You probably didn't partake in it, but what did you observe? Do you mind
Yeah, it was
talking on
beautiful. I love the Japanese people. I love the culture that they have. I love that everything feels safe and you're able to walk the streets and drink and have fun and meet new people.
that?
We were doing interviews and a couple people were really drunk.
Right,
So, me, I'm thinking, oh, let me protect myself from
right,
this drunk person because I know how it is in America, in North America.
right.
If you you know.
That's a fist fight with a drunk person or something, right? Or even
Exactly.
worse.
Yeah. So it's a different mindset. It's a different way of viewing the world, right?
Yeah. Did you remember that drunk guy who was I was interviewing the French girl, and then
Hmm.
there was a drunk guy bombarding the interview? I still didn't post that. Do you remember that guy? He kind of he was a mess.
Yeah, we had to get him away from the girl. He had his
But
I don't know.
he didn't intend any harm. He was just like super drunk, like, right? He was
He
super
was
relaxed.
he was wasted,
Mm,
wasted. I mean, the guy had throw up all over his clothes, shoes,
Jesus.
jacket, everything. Everything was inside out. He didn't know where he was.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think you have it pretty good because if you want to come back here, it takes like 10 hours to come to Japan. You know, you look at Aaron B was saying from London, it takes 14 hours to come here. And
Mhm.
then Tay International, he brought up something good. He said the food options in Japan are so much better for your health as well. What do you think about that? Is that a fair assessment?
Exactly. They care about health.
Mm,
That's plain and simple.
right, right. In terms of dealing with the locals in Japan, how is their ability to speak English out here? Especially, do you think like if you were single, do you think like single guys can date Japanese girls out here easily, or like
I
what's their options?
Everyone has their own experience. Me, I'm motion man, so I got the motion. I can go anywhere and meet people and have fun and introduce myself. And I'm gonna meet the English person, and let's say the Japanese person that speaks a little bit of English, and
Mm,
I'm gonna go from there.
mm,
That's the way it's done. I met this one guy, this Japanese guy with dreads, and I said, "All
right.
right," and he said, and we got along, and he took me to a reggae party, and let me tell you,
Yeah,
I
tell us about the
never,
reggae party. You were telling me about that a little bit. Can you go into more detail?
yeah, I've
And also,
never.
the Japanese guy with dreads, did he speak good English or broken English or no English? How
Oh
did
yeah,
he?
his English was really, really good. I mean,
Oh, okay,
yeah, he had some like he's a brand developer and stuff. I follow him on Instagram and
okay.
he snowboards and stuff like that. So his English was really good. And I met him outside of Warp.
Oh, Warp Guys is a club out in Shinjuku, right? The nightclub Warp.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. I met him outside of Warp. And this is after like 3 a.m. So I said,
right,
I'm drunk. I'm gonna go back to the hotel. It's my first
right,
night in Tokyo. I'm
right,
still a little bit jet lagged. So I
right,
met this guy. We started talking. I'm like, "Oh, English is good. I like your hair. Cool, cool, cool."
right,
And he's like, "Follow me." So I'm like, "All right." Japanese people are nice. I feel safe. It's all good. I
right,
follow this guy to a party, and it's a Jamaican party. And I'm telling you, there were
right.
professional dancers, Japanese woman dancing to Jamaican dance hall. I've never seen anything like it before in my life.
How well were they dancing though? Because like Japanese women, I wouldn't really. I mean, I know there is a subculture out here, but like were they twerking? Like what were they good at it? Were they just doing their best? Like
They were good. I mean, you would feel like you were in Jamaica. These girls were doing flips. They were doing handstands. They were doing all these crazy acrobatics. I was shocked, man. I had to pull out my phone and start recording them.
that's awesome, Jab. That's crazy. Now were they working for the club? So were there girls who like worked for the club dancing, and then there were also girls who were visiting the club dancing, or how was it?
Yeah, I mean, it was packed in there. A lot of people were visiting, dancing. It was good, but there were some professional dancers that there were on the poster. You
Right.
know what I mean? So yeah, they had DJs, professional
Mm.
dancers. They weren't wearing very much clothes, if you know what I mean.
Right. And that's your first night there. And that wasn't the first time Japanese people came up to you and spoke to you and started being outgoing, right?
No, actually, there's a DJ inside of Warp. She was buying me drinks. I
What? The
was
DJ
shocked,
was buying you drinks?
Yeah, I didn't know she was a DJ until she just got up on a table with a mic and started screaming at people.
What? That's
Yeah,
crazy. Now, were
I
you
think
the only like brother there or like are they all
yes,
Japanese people? Ah, I
yes.
see. Wow,
But
that's
I'm
crazy.
very outgoing, so I don't know if everybody will have the same luck as me. But
Right,
I'm very outgoing. I like to dance. I like to smile at people. People will look at me and they'll think, "Oh, that guy is approachable." So they
right,
approach
right.
me.
Now, you don't have to say like what happened afterwards, but did any like Japanese women hit on you? Because I see a lot of videos where, and I like to make a joke. I see a lot of videos on the internet where there are YouTubers saying that as soon as you come to Japan, like Japan is paying passport bros to have babies with Japanese women, and as soon as you hop off the airplane, if you say you're IT or you have money, or the girls will like stop you at the airport. I'm being a little sarcastic there, but like, were any Japanese women like making moves on you as you went about your day-to-day life in Japan?
No, no, not at all. They look, they smile, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah. I think their way is a lot more shy.
Yeah,
I'll tell a story. So when I was living in New York City, well, one way I learned about Japan, I used to date a lot of Japanese women who were living or visiting in New York City. And one time I was on the train and I just came from a party and I was wearing a suit. And the subway cars, they're sort of like the size of Tokyo subway cars. She was standing up against a pole, and I was on the other side of the train, and she was just looking at me saying nothing. And I kind of looked to my left and my right. Now I've been this is I believe this is my only time actually being hit on. Now I've talked to Japanese girls on the train and on the platform, both in New York City and in Japan, Tokyo, Osaka, whatever. But this is my first time where I was literally like minding my own business, thinking about something, and I just noticed someone staring at me.
hmm
So she's staring at me and just like hitting on me directly with her eyes. That was my only time I had a Japanese woman be super direct. Other times, like they'll ask questions or they'll just smile and nod. But I
yeah,
think like if you're in Japan and you have a Japanese girl like just smile and nod or looking at you, whatever, this is how they make their move in Japan. It's not like other cultures. American girls will just hit you direct. American girls, I've had I've had New Yorker girls like hit on me while I'm with another girl.
yeah.
So like when the Japanese girls were like just making contact with you, like what were your did you have any thoughts about it both during that time or like in hindsight?
Well, I think that they're curious as well.
Mm.
So, and it's also something where they might look at you, smile, and maybe they think that their English is not good enough. So you have to be the one to bridge that gap,
Right,
right?
right, right,
So there could be a lot of different scenarios or variables that you need to consider.
right. So like I have a question for you, D Will. Like what would kind of motivate you to make the move to live in Japan, or are you happy enough to travel back and forth? Because I feel like there's two types of like passport bros or expats, sort of say. Well, expats are living over here, right? But I feel like the way your life is set up, especially with the savings you've built up and the skills you've built up and the lifestyle you've built up in Canada, you don't have to be an expat. You can just travel back and forth when you want. So what would be the transitioning factor for you between like if you could talk about it, becoming an expat or just traveling back and forth when you have free time?
Exactly. So for me, I think the main factor would be getting rid of the 9 to 5,
Hmm.
and just say, I'm done with working. I have enough um, residual income coming in. You know, I'm getting paid while I'm sleeping, so I don't need to show up to a 9 to 5 anymore. So now
Hmm.
I'm gonna spend 6 months over here, spend 6 months over there, and that would
Hmm.
be it. That's
So
the
like,
goal. I think that's the dream life.
right. So here's one idea I have for you. I don't think I ever brought up this option. What about, obviously your 9 to 5 is very flexible. You have a nice situation and it pays you well over here. And based on what we spoke about, obviously in Japan, and this is for anybody else watching this either now on the live or in the playback and the replay later on, don't expect guys to make more money over here than you're making over in America. However, with someone like my friend over here, D Will, um even though let's say you're making less money in Japan, you have so much money built up from your savings and from investing. Um, is that, do you think you could figure it out when you come here? Because you have a lot of leeway where you can wait to build up your stream of income while over here in Japan. But it's no rush, right? Because you're living great in Canada too, right?
Exactly. I think the main focus would be to set up streams of income here so that
Mm.
I no longer have to even think about looking for a job.
Right, right.
You
What
know,
what what types of so besides investing, are there any other streams of income that you're considering that you might consider in the future?
I'm considering real estate. That's number one, just so that
Mm,
I can have money coming in, right?
mm,
And once I'm able to pay a property management company, then I don't have to be hands on at all. I just collect the cash and I'm on my way.
right. How's the real estate market over in Canada? Are there some decent properties? Because I know you could start working on that.
Well, the real estate market in Canada is just overinflated. I mean, like I
Mm,
said earlier, the housing here is double what they cost in America. So
mm,
everyone is in the real estate game. It is over half our GDP. It is how people are making money. And right now,
mm.
like people are selling condos for $1 million. I mean, it's insane.
Jesus. Wow.
If you're in Toronto, there's $1 million condos. I mean,
Mm,
you're thinking about that, and
mm.
you're asking yourself, how do I get into that housing market? And the answer is you don't.
You wait,
It's
wait it
it's
out.
for it's for investors only, and the investors get in, they buy it, and they rent it out to you
Mm,
for 2,500 or 3,000.
Jesus.
So that would be the game. I mean, you got to get in, you buy the property, and you rent it out to somebody else, and they pay your mortgage for you.
Wow.
But it's
So,
also a double-edged sword because a lot of people are giving the shaft to the landlords. There's a
mm,
big news story that's been circulating in Canada recently, and basically the tenants for these
mm,
condos or houses,
mm,
they are not paying their rent, which then forces the landlord to take them to the tenant board and try to get them evicted. But to get a hearing with the tenant board, it takes over
mhm.
6 to 8 months.
Right.
So imagine you have your property which you have to pay a mortgage on, and your
Mm.
tenant's not paying you for 8 months, and you can't even get them evicted.
Ah, that's sort of the same way in New York. I have another friend who became a expat slash passport bro over in Colombia, Medellin. Have you ever been to Colombia, Medellin, by the way? Or
No, it's on
Colombia?
the list though.
Yeah. What have you heard about that? Because I don't know too much about Colombia.
Oh man, one of my coworkers just went to Colombia. He loves it there. Cartagena is his spot.
Why does he like it so much?
Let's just say he's a passport bro.
I see. I see. So, all right. So, if somebody wants to live their dream life, because I know you put in the work, I know I put in the work. What would you say the fundamentals are to live in a great life? Because I know a lot of folks, like I don't know if you know, because I know you're busy with a lot of stuff over there in Canada, but a lot of folks are suffering in the States. They're trying to make money. What would you think is the foundations to get set up? I think most specifically, maybe for someone not making a lot of money in America, as we look at, this YouTube video saying Japan needs foreigners to work.
Yeah, I think financial literacy is the biggest one.
Mm,
Knowing what money is, knowing the psychology of money, living below your means, not having to impress people. You don't need the Gucci belt. You don't need the extra guac at Chipotle.
yeah.
You know what I
Well, I
mean?
need the extra guac in Chipotle. I love my guacamole. I love my avocado. But yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I think there's two sorts. I think there's like people on different levels. I what I worry about for like a lot of guys who get excited about the passport bro movement is I worry about them like getting into IT or becoming an English teacher. And then the thing about IT and English teaching, well, all right, I'll cover one at a time. All right. So if you come to, let's say you don't have a lot of money in America, let's say you're early 20s or so in Japan, or, you could be, folks could be in their 30s, 40s, I don't know. But you're watching this content online, you get excited, you're like, I want to live my dream life in Japan. Let me go over to Japan. So if you get an English teaching job, a lot of these guys are miserable. They're working long hours. They're living in a crappy in a they have their own apartment, but it's not that great. It's far away, and they don't have, you said, the war chest. They don't have the
Hmm.
war chest I'm coming to Japan with. They don't have the war chest that you visited Japan with. And they're having a rough time out here and they're feeling stressed out because their money is tight. For me, money tight, I to me, money tight is still like is not life or death. I still got a lot of leeway. You got leeway. But like if guys don't come here with a war chest and a head in the English teaching, like it's and then especially if you don't have like the even if you have skills, it's kind of a rough predicament to come here needing a job, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So and then from the IT standpoint, I think you're gonna want the sales skills to get the job. If you're gonna have to sell yourself to get an IT job, but yeah, I think the dream life is out here. And one follow-up thing I'll say is that if someone is able to stick it out and stick it out through their first year here, they can talk to other foreigners and improve their situation. But don't, even if you're living in Japan, even if you're living in America or Canada, your dream life or London, wherever, you're gonna have to tough out the rough waters before living your dream life. Like, I've definitely had rough waters. Was it like right now you're living well, but could you have any rough times that you had to like stick out before getting to where you are now?
yeah. 100%. I mean, I left my family. I had to move away to get the job that I have now currently,
Right,
and it's a very good government job. But
right.
I had to leave to get that while I'm still young. So
Mm,
the sacrifices are endless.
right.
But you have to make those sacrifices to be able to level up.
Mm, mm.
It's just like you're playing Mario. You get that extra mushroom and you hear that noise and you leveled up and you're like, all right, now I can move on to the next stage,
Right, right.
right? But you
See,
can't do that without putting some effort in, making the sacrifices, gaining some knowledge, reading up on whatever it is that your passion is, and just going after it.
right. You made a good point, and I know during the pandemic, a lot of people actually moved from New York to Vegas, California, Florida, wherever in America. And you made a good point, like you had to move to get there. And I think some people think about moving overseas right away. But what do you think about kind of following what you did? I never did it, but moving within your country, within cities to get a better job, especially like maybe a higher populated city or to a better job,
That's the best
as
plan,
opposed to
actually.
moving overseas first.
That's the best plan. I moved to a lower populated city,
Mm,
and I was able to get a higher position with the government in that lower populated city,
mm,
and it was the best decision I've ever made because now I have a title, and with
right.
that title, I can move to any other city and take my title with me.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
And how did you find that opportunity?
Believe it or not, I left before I found the opportunity.
Really? What
Yeah.
motivated you to do that? Because that's sort of a lot of people would maybe be scared to do that, or it'd seem a little daunting or intimidating to do that. What were the factors?
You're not gonna believe me when I tell you,
Mm.
but it was hip hop.
What?
It was hip hop. I can't lie. Like just listening to the different hip hop music and all the confidence that they have, I said, you know what? I have the confidence too. I'm doing it.
Dude, it's so funny. I go, I mean, when we go about our day-to-day lives, like especially in Japan, there's music in the supermarkets. Even did you notice the even hip hop music blaring in Tokyo when you're walking through the Tokyo
Oh,
streets
yeah, everywhere.
in Shibuya?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
so
It's a big deal.
yeah, but like music, sometimes I mean there's pros and cons, but I mean the type of music I have on my list now in 2025, I made a new list with like some really upbeat motivational music. I like when they talk about money in hip hop. And then when I get
Exactly.
frustrated, whatever, like sometimes I try and collaborate people, things aren't going my way. Like yesterday, I started like pumping out push-ups. Like it makes me want to run, gets me like maybe I got like too much testosterone energy, maybe because I'm not doing my walk-in talks or something, right? But like,
Mhm.
yeah, guys, you need to get motivated. You need to get pumped up to like make it happen. And like, I'm the type of guy where even if I do have a well-paying job, like, trust me, guys, you can survive. If I think you were mentioning before, D Will, sometimes you have to take a step down or step back to make like two moves forward. Sort of like the concept of
Exactly.
like breaking down muscle to build your muscle back up. So,
That's it,
uh,
man. And I mean, my biggest resources was YouTube.
mm,
You know what I mean? Just like we're talking right now, there's so much content on YouTube. I
mm,
think it's the main idea is for it to be educational, just as it just as much as it is entertainment.
mm.
You know what I mean? There's so much things to learn if you want to level up.
Oh, speaking of which, I remember asking you. So, what was it? You're mentioning something about the live streams, the walk. Now, I started doing the walk and talk live stream 6 months ago. Can you tell me what you thought of that and how that affected you?
Yeah, so I was watching the live streams with walking, and I was just enjoying all the energy, right? And
Right,
watching you talk to people, meet new people, and when you were speaking the language, I said, "Wow, this is cool," right? And
right.
it gave me a little bit more motivation to travel solo,
Mm,
get out
right,
there,
right.
right? A lot of people are afraid to travel solo, and I
Mm,
think it's the best travel I've ever experienced.
mm.
You know,
Yeah, you get
being
to
able to,
meet.
yeah,
Mm,
you
go
meet new people, you set your own schedule, you wake up when you want to, go to sleep when you want to. eat when you want to, whatever it is you want to do, you go and do it.
Hmm.
Right?
And then you don't always have to bring your girlfriend, or some people have girlfriends or wives. What do you recommend for those people thinking about going solo, and like even with their wife or girlfriend not coming with them?
I mean, you can book your wife a trip to wherever she wants to go, and you go solo.
And then that's the nice part about having money. So you can have two trips going on.
That's what I
What was I
did.
On my live streams, the people seem friendly most of the time in Japan. Sometimes I have some stream bombers that will like put up their middle finger, whatever, or say some profanity or something crazy, and I'll quickly like turn the camera away from them or take the mic away from them. But compared to the friendliness of the Japanese people you saw on my walking live streams, my walk vibe live streams, were they friendlier, just as friendly, less friendly? How would you compare like actually being here compared to what you were seeing on the Japan walk vibe live streams?
All the people were super friendly and
Mm,
super helpful too. I mean, everyone wants to help you out
mm,
and make sure you know where you are, make sure you know about the cultural significance of that place. I mean, they're all gonna help you.
mm,
What I find is that the people who speak English, they
mm,
want to talk to you in English, so they'll
mm.
approach you.
Right. And they'll ask like, "Hey, do you know where you're going, or you need help with this?"
Sometimes they'll just say, "Hey, Kobe Bryant,
What? Did somebody say, "Hey, Kobe Bryant" to you?
LeBron James," you know?
That's crazy. So how many
Yeah,
episodes so you were here for a week? How many times did something like that happen? Approximately, like over 10 times?
I'd say about 5 times
Okay. That's wild.
because I was wearing some some clothing from Canada, right?
Right.
Or Toronto Raptors jersey,
Right.
and yeah, so they just approach and say, DeMar DeRozan or something.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Do you play basketball, by the way?
A little bit. I shoot around, you know.
Yeah, they have an outdoor court here. Kevin Durant started a company where he put some outdoor basketball courts in Japan, in Tokyo. So I'm happy
Yeah.
he did that because we're definitely lacking over here compared to New York. But yeah, man, this is a good introductory live stream. We didn't really get into seeing what this lady had to say here. Let's see if she gets to her point over here. Let's play.
Offers you that developed country lifestyle along with a lot of discipline in Asia itself. The timing difference is not crazy if you're, trying to do this
I'm
from
gonna
Asia
skip
or
over
to be after the pandemic, after
this part is about visas. So let's see what she has to say about recently issued visas.
they realizes they need to accelerate the foreign worker hiring. Apart from this, the fourth pathway is something that is only directed towards international talent and anyone in the whole wide world can apply. And the fifth is the government hiring directly. The fourth pathway is also the government hiring directly. This is just one department. The fifth one is actually the government going to different countries and doing hiring directly. So if all of this has gotten you excited, let's go to screen record and check our options.
And she says something that I don't know if I believe. She said the government is going outside of Japan to hire directly. I know that there are companies that go outside of Japan and hire people not living in Japan, but usually these are like new students who just graduated, people in their early 20s, and they have a very specific type that they're looking for. And
Yeah.
I don't think it should be available. Yeah,
It's
that's my
probably
thought.
just it's just probably Asia, right? I would think so.
Yeah, I think so. Like, there's a company out here. What's the name of it? I don't know. It's an English teaching company. It's a really big one out here. I think for IT, she could be talking about like maybe for IT, if someone gets a recent certificate, there might be some companies out here looking to hire, but really you have to go out and get it. And
Yeah.
especially the governments. Yeah, I think what you said is specific countries, but I don't think they're going to like America or Japan. I think they're
Yeah.
going, or I'm sorry, not America or Canada. I think they're going to other countries.
Yeah. They're trying to snipe some talent from Singapore.
Exactly. Whereas I see a lot of people from Nepal working here as well. I notice more and more. I think this lady is from India. I'm not sure, but let's see what else she has to say. She has a few other points.
Out. Okay, so the first option that I have is a job seeker visa. It's called J-Skip. Now, Japan launched it a couple of years ago, and it is relatively easy to apply. I would say that the requirements
It's called J Skip. It's kind of trendy name. That sounds.
are a little stringent when it comes to job seeker, but still a relatively straightforward process compared to other countries. You can apply for this visa without any sponsor. You can be your own sponsor. You can be your own guarantor. You don't need any job, any sponsorship.
Whoa, that sounds like something you could do. Did you hear what she said?
Is it sort of like a digital nomad visa?
Not sure. I'm seeing this for the first time too. J Skip. First, so no guarantor, no job. You can be your own guarantor.
Whatsoever. So let's look at the details. This is the J-Skip that I'm talking about. You will be getting this for almost 5 years. You will be applying as a highly skilled professional. Let's look at what are the necessary documents. On this, you can move with your spouse. You can also move with your
Oh, snap. So if someone's married to someone, like let's say you're living Canada, Europe, wherever, America, and you're married and you and your spouse want to come, you can come here without a job. This is my first time hearing. All right, let's hear what she says.
parents. Your parents can go in for 1 year. You can also take some domestic staff if need be. Now,
There's got to be a monetary requirement. You got it. You can't. I don't think you can be a broke person and do this. But I'm waiting for her to talk about that part.
you must have outstanding abilities and credentials. And
There we go. Here we go. This is like that specialist visa I was talking about.
you must qualify to work as a highly skilled professional.
Okay. Yeah, guys, there's actually a highly skilled professional visa. Let's see what she.
This is, like I said, a job seeker visa, and they give a lot more information of a highly skilled professional. Now let's look at the definition of a highly skilled professional. So you have advanced academic research. If you have specialized technical,
Yeah, I've actually looked at this myself when I was looking to renew one of my visas, but this is good for you guys to see because I don't recall exactly. She's reading it exactly from there.
skills, if you can do advanced business activities, and you must also have a master's degree or higher, or you must.
Quick thing, guys, by the way, I don't know if you knew this, D Will, but it's very interesting because in America, I didn't really think. I feel like in America, having a bachelor's degree or master's degree, especially for, I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts? Are bachelor's and master's degrees really valued over there in Canada? Because I feel like in America, like they just want to know if you could do the job, and it's what you do while you're in the job. What's the?
Yeah, they're valued here in Canada,
Mm,
especially for government positions.
yeah, yeah, it's still a society where you want to get these degrees, especially Japan. Let's go back. I was just, once she said that, I was like, I gotta mention that, having that degree, guys. That degree
Must have at least, if you don't have a master's degree, then at least 10 years of work experience and an annual income of 20 million yen. Now, what if you don't?
She said 20 million yen. Guys,
20
20 million yen. That's definitely six figures, guys. And not lowest six figures. So like, yeah. It's yeah, kind of low six figures, low to mid six figures.
Don't have 10 years of work experience, then you need 5 years of experience and a higher annual income of 40 million yen. So the J skip, I would say, a little restricted, but doesn't need a lot of documentation. You just need basic stuff like passport, application, photograph, and then certificate of eligibility.
I think the reason why they call that J skip is you're kind of skipping over the other visas because of your skills.
Yeah, or your wallet.
Yeah, and that's why I said before, you want to live your dream life here, there's steps, whether you come here and go through the struggle. I think it's easier to go through the struggle. I think it's easier to build the foundations of your dream life in your home country where you're a little more native speaker, and then come here at least with a little bit of a war chest. You know what I mean? So like, D Will, you had money to like take a cab or whatever when you needed to. Even though, yeah, I personally think if you came here and if you were having trouble financially and the Japanese people were having trouble speaking with you, I think that's a little difficulty, especially to build it. At least the first year. I think it's stressful. I know,
Yeah.
yeah, those are
But
my
if you're
thoughts.
younger, you can overcome that. I mean,
Exactly.
yeah, like
Exactly.
put me anywhere, I'll triple my worth, right?
What's that, Jay-Z?
Yeah, you know that one.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Yeah, let me let her finish out with another good point.
which you will have to apply, showing your credentials and your academic qualifications and all of that. You have to obtain a certificate of eligibility with total points and types of activities as a highly skilled.
By the way, this is a lot of work she's talking about here. Like Japan is no joke when it comes to the documentation. Visiting here is one thing. To get a taste to visit here, they make it easy. But then to get the full status, this was a lot harder than your tourist visa to come to Japan, right?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't
Yeah.
even need a tourist visa. I just showed up.
Yeah, exactly. So like here, if you want to live here permanently, have your dream life. And guys, trust me, it is worth it. Once you're here, even it is worth it. Like even toughing it out here is a cinch. I'll show you guys the spot to like vibe with your fellow expats.
Professional from a regional immigration bureau in Japan. This is the most tricky part, but I've read a lot of experiences of people online. It seems more difficult online when you read it, but not as difficult when you do it. Actually, from the experiences that I read online, seems like the most difficult process was to actually go and talk about this J-skip visa with the immigration people. Seems like COE is the easier part. The application tends to be like just explaining the application tends to be the more difficult part, partly because of language. J-skip might not work for all, but we have 5 options in this video, and trust me, some of these will work for everyone. So let's move on to the next visa, which is digital nomad. Now, the digital nomad visa was launched just in March
That's the one.
2024.
There we go. That might be up your alley, maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
in
the
the
one.
future. The digital nomad. Have you heard
Yeah,
of this visa?
yeah. I think Thailand has it as well.
Okay. How's it
Um,
work in Thailand, the digital nomad visa?
I'm not 100% sure, but I think you're able to, you know, use your online business and get a visa and make money online through YouTube or OnlyFans if you got it.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a
Jesus.
lot of people do that.
Only, 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 only fun for the win. I don't know what.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The period
there
of
you go.
stay is 6
What's up?
So there you go, OnlyFans.
Yeah. Let's see what she's saying for the Japan digital
months
nomad visa.
if you wish to work remotely in Japan for a period not exceeding 6 months, and you can also take your spouse or child. The digital nomad application is also, again, extremely simple. You must have a remote job, though, to apply for this, but it's not crazy. The only requirement here is that you must prove that your annual income is 10
She brought up something interesting for the digital nomad visa. Getting a remote job. Um, so folks, yeah, I don't. Yeah, the remote jobs. I'm kind of looking into this myself too, just kind of to share with folks because I've never really, well, I've worked remotely in that both of my sales jobs here in Tokyo, I did work remote. Both the recruiter job, that company no longer is doing remote work because people don't really work well when they're not working at the office. But from a sales standpoint, I have a story to tell. One of my colleagues, we were having like a New Yorkers trip. I don't know if I told you this, probably not, but I think in 2023, I was visiting Thailand with a few other New Yorkers, and then I had left the company and he was still there, and he had to do a whole bunch of sales work while he was over there in Thailand. But yeah, the remote work guys, I would suggest just like a quick to if you want to establish your dream life here in Japan, just get your job working remotely. And some of this is not really coaching, some of this is just setting a profile up. And then maybe if you're not getting results, then you can get the coaching if you're not making headway. But yeah, this digital nomad visa looks pretty nice. Let's let her finish out.
million or more, and then you must have insurance. You can move with your spouse and child, and this can also be a good way of transitioning into Japan and figuring out a work opportunity. And if you find something, moving your status within Japan itself. Now, what if you don't do a remote job or you don't make this kind of money? Then let's move on to the next option that we have, which is J Find. Now, J Find is for recent graduates. They have a lot of requirements here. The more
Everything's with a J5, the J find, the J skip, right? Very interesting.
or early career professionals would fit in here. If you don't fit in here, don't worry. The last two options will work for literally everyone. So hold it out. You must meet all the requirements. There are three requirements. First is that you must have graduated from a university that's ranked within the top 100 in at least 2 of the 3 world rankings.
That's definitely not going to be everyone, Devo, but
You've probably seen this, like every country that tends to do a job seeker based on rankings, whether it's Netherlands, UK, they all tend to have like this top 100, top 200 requirement. It can either be QS World Ranking, and then it can be the World University Rankings by time.
that actually does help. I've seen the top 200 recently. Yeah, especially if folks are looking to. Do you know, D Will? Do you know about this thing where folks in Japan, they can teach English over the internet instead of working for a Japanese company?
No, I've never heard about that.
Yeah. So the thing is, there you can't really get a visa, but you could kind of be a digital nomad if you can work your workarounds around the visa situation. So, but like even with those websites, if you're in like a top 200 university, you could put it in there. I think it makes your application look more exciting to get into that. But let me see. It's pretty informative. She goes over it pretty fast. She's not spending too much time on each one.
Yeah, I think
J-
that digital nomad one is top tier.
that's the number one you're looking at. I think for everybody. Let me see.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me see. So the live stream's been hour 16 minutes. This is our first ever live stream of this kind. I think I think you covered, and I think some of the people in our comments section, there's no questions. I think we got a lot of regulars commenting here. I don't see some new people. I see Tyler the Flower talking his stuff, Tay International. What would I think on the next stream our game plan should be at looking at kind of continuing with the dream life, but showing what the apartments look like. And I can have those links ready for my next live stream. If anybody has any questions now or in the replay, feel free to comment, because I guess the chat will be closed down. Comment in the replay on the video, and then we'll answer it on the next time. I'll be setting up for February and March. This will be the schedule for these live streams, unless otherwise changed. Tuesday mornings here in Japan, Monday nights. Occasionally we might do a Monday night and Monday morning, but I think this is the schedule going forward. And then this type of content here. Obviously, if you guys want any particular topics, myself, D Will, whoever's on the Passport Man team, we'll do the research ahead. A better version of what we did today was just setting up the main points. We'll have a lot more information to share with you guys next time. Feel free to support the channel by either subscribing, liking, sharing your videos if you find them helpful. Let us know what topics you want us to cover. Any other closing points you want to bring up, D Will?
In closing, I think everyone should live their dream life. I think it's very important to think about earlier, sooner rather than later. And, we all need to level up.
Yeah, man. We got one life to live, man. Life is shorter than you think. It goes in the blink of an eye, and we're blessed. If you're watching this live stream now, if you're thinking of going to Japan, it means that you got some good things coming into your life. You're blessed, so make the most of life. I think you're really well said, Debo.
Yes, sir. All right, man. I'm gonna head off. I'm gonna sign off. I'll talk to
All
you
right,
soon.
guys. Yep. See you guys later. I'll talk to D Will offline. And it's a pleasure rocking with you guys. And thanks for showing support, guys. See you next time.